right, everybody. Welcome to the Fuel Pod, episode 86. Got a bunch of stuff to talk about as we move into the first race of the F1 season. Thank you, God. Thank
Yes, it is
God.
race week.
We are finally here. Hopefully next Saturday we'll be doing a watch along show. If we can get Farmer involved, like we discussed, be doing that at his house maybe on Saturday. So hopefully we'll get that. If not, I think the new format with us moving to Mondays at least will be absolutely current when we do our post race show on Monday. We'll need to talk about at some point what time we want to do those on Monday because we don't necessarily have to do 9 o'clock. So anyway, how's everybody doing tonight?
Doing great.
We're doing
okay. All right. Well, we had winter testing this past week in Saudi Arabia. I'm just going to kind of go through. F1 did their own version of winners and losers on their site and F1 TV or whatever. And I didn't necessarily agree with all theirs, but let's just break down the teams and I want to hear if you guys think it was a winner and a loser and why. If not, I got some whys as well. But my first one that I'm going to do is an absolute loser in my book, which I hate because I love one of their drivers. I don't like the other one at all. Alpine. I found myself, and I went back and watched all three sessions of winter testing, and I got to tell you, where the hell was Alpine? Like, I don't think they brought him up like one time. Except to say Alpine's leaving the garage, Alpine's leaving, it was didn't really hear about him, and it sucks because I know it's kind of a make or break this year, especially with all those celebrities involved in their investment portfolio. Ryan Reynolds, McElhenney, Russell Wilson, I don't know who else. There's a shit ton of them in there. So what are your all's thoughts on Pierre Gasly and Esteban go get a different job Ocon?
Yeah, I think they're going to be forgettable once again.
Do you
stuck in the mid pack? They were Alpine and McLaren are the only teams that did not run softs in testing.
Yeah,
I don't know the reason, but I think Alpine is. I think
that's a
they
good
know
catch. I didn't catch that.
I think they're mid pack, and that's what they're just going to work with.
You don't think maybe and this is stupid, I realize it while it's coming out of my mouth. Do you think they just didn't run the softs because they thought, well, we know the softs will work. Everybody knows the softs will work. It's just a matter of how many laps you're going to get out of them.
Yeah, it was real disappointing, especially, I like Gasly.
Yeah, I do too.
I think he can damn sure drive in traffic, and it looks like that's where he's going to be.
Yeah. I was going to ask Jason what his thoughts were, but it looks like he just went straight blackout right there. Yeah. Well, who was another team you looked at that you want to talk about?
Let's see. Really, one, we got to figure out what we're going to call the Visa Cash App. RB.
Oh, I can't believe you're going to steal that one from me, but good call.
No, you'll take it.
VCARB is what I'm calling it.
Is that what we're going with?
VCARB, Visa Cash App RB. They're actually being called RB. But here's the thing. I've been secretly calling Red Bull Racing RB forever.
Well, their car's name is RB.
Yeah, no shit, right? So I'm going full, I'm calling it VCARB.
Okay. I'll give it a try. It's kind of hard, but
okay.
We had to agree on something because we can't.
And folks, pardon me tonight. I know Jason's having some serious internet issues this evening, so just bear with him as we try to work through this. But talk to me about VCARB, man. What are your thoughts on them? Because I've got my own for sure.
Well, you told me earlier that Danny Ricciardo didn't look like he had much, was it? But
whoa, no, that's not what I said. I think you're spinning it. That's not what I said. I said he's back.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was saying.
I think that car's going to be something to watch.
Yeah,
definitely. I think it is. I think it's last year's Red Bull car.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I thought Danny Rick looked quick for what that car has available to it. I think he raced that car to the limit. And I thought he looked good in there. That car is not the RB24. Is it the RB23? It's pretty damn close. But hold on, I got to add Jason back to the mix here.
Yeah, do they knock Aston Martin out of the top 5?
Well, I was going to bring up Aston Martin later, so we'll talk about that. Whoa, just lost him again. Jason just keeps popping out. So I'll put him back in. I think you're going to get a strong showing from both Danny Ricciardo and Yuki. I thought I was watching, and I'm not going to spoil. We got to talk about that, by the way. I'm not going to spoil Drive to Survive. Fuck you, Nana Patrick. But I think it showed a Yuki come along when Nick DeVries was supposed to have been brought in to be the leader of that team. Mm-hmm. And Yuki's like, you know what? You can kiss my ass. So I think you're looking at 2 strong drivers in a car that is consistently improving over time. I absolutely agree with you that I think they're going to be strong midfield. I called them to be a shocker team this year anyway. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. And again, I think Danny Ricciardo, looks good, man. He looked good in that car. He looked fast. It just made me wish he was in a faster car. Jason, who's the team you looked at?
Honestly, I have a busy week. Haven't had a whole lot to look at winter testing. And I'm also
who's the team you're excited about to see this year and what you think they can do?
This is gonna be very biased, but I'm just ready to watch Red Bull take over again. I'm ready. I'm waiting. Been waiting a whole season.
Young people in Red Bull, Mikey.
Listen, bro.
Yeah, and hey, Jay, won't you?
No, Jason, I'm not picking on you, son. That's exactly what Red Bull intended this to be.
Red Bull is Tiger Woods in his prime.
Yeah, and you guys are the Red Bull generation. You are who they're promoting. They want you guys to love it because the youth being able to get out there and spread the word. Sorry, I missed Red Bulls. I missed. See what you did right there? That was marketing right there. Yeah. I missed Redbeard's comment early, and then I wanted to make sure we get it up. I like getting the comments up there on the board when we get them. So let me say hello back to him. But yeah, dude, you got to listen. The marketing in this sport, Jason, is for you. It's for your generation. It's not for me and Mikey. They know me and Mikey are just watching it for the cars. You guys are going to sell Red Bull energy drinks, and you guys are going to sell shirts and hats and all that merch. And that's who they need to sell. They don't need to sell me and Mikey. They can give a shit. We got 1 foot in the ground already. So, and I don't mean to be morbid, but that's legitimately how it works.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things where, wow, who was that? Oh yeah, I just said hello. But anyway, I mean, that's who they're marketing. So,
yeah, let me ask you about Red Bull real fast.
Go for it.
So the last few years, last couple at least, everybody's been talking about the side pods. We got what is Red Bull doing with their side pods? We got to copy Red Bull side pods, and Red Bull shows up. They ain't got no side pods. What the hell is going on with Red Bull?
So I think this is Adrian Newey's. And I do this thing at work where I'm like, this is my knife turning in the back. I think this is Adrian Newey's. Because I think he wants to show Mercedes, okay, let me show you what it would have been like if I was the one running your team with 0 side pods. And here's the worst part. They obviously ruled the house. And I'm not saying that theirs is not a 0 side pod design.
No.
But I think he curbed in, pardon the pun, I think he curbed in the side pods a little bit and created aero in another spot to give them the space. I think their front wing looks a little bit different. But the funny thing to me, Mikey, and you brought up an excellent point, man, is that if you look at the side pods on all the other teams, they almost all are variations of Red Bulls from last year.
Yeah.
Almost every single one of them. Ferrari went with a little bit different of one, but almost nobody else did. I think Williams did, but I think they're going to pay for theirs because their car is complete shit.
Even Ferraris isn't much different.
No, Ferrari's it, and then Ferrari's always going to go their own way.
Oh yeah,
but after winter testing, I think you'd be hard pressed, and I want to save some of this feedback till we get to Ferrari. But you'd be hard pressed to say that Red Bull and Ferrari aren't the two fastest cars on the grid, because they are.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. But I want to finish up what you're talking about, and I think it's great, man, that back in Red Bull's play. I think we haven't talked about Red Bull yet. That hadn't come up. I did Alpine. He brought up V-Carb. But let's go ahead and get the elephant in the room out of the way. And I'm going to start off by saying I want to congratulate Max Verstappen on his 2024 World Drivers' Championship. Because and for the record, I'm not the first to say this. I'm probably the 9 millionth to say this. Fernando Alonso congratulated Max after winter testing.
Mm-hmm. After the first day.
Yeah, after the first day. F1 TV did. Sky Sports did. WTF1, Maddie at P1, all them guys. It was odd, and they weren't that much faster than Ferrari, but they were fast enough, both in quali trim and in race trim, because that's two different setups. But yeah, man. So that's my thoughts on Red Bull. So every other team needs to play spoiler if they want to change those results, and I hope somebody does, and I hope that is the Scuderia Ferrari. But Jason, go ahead with your Red Bull bit. What makes you really, really root for them?
My love for this sport started with the show.
Yeah.
And it started with Danny Rick and Max Verstappen, and they're fighting back and forth. They're fighting against each other, racing these cars.
That was wonderful. Yeah.
That was that show. And I always Danny Rick's probably still my favorite driver, but I've always just kept that love for Red Bull. I mean, I drink. I mean, to be fair, I drink Red Bull every day. So, like, I mean, it is. To be fair, it's great marketing. But
yeah,
I think my love for this team, it's not going to change.
Yeah, and dude, they have a beautiful car. If you're one of those people that's just going on spec, you can't beat a raging bull down the side of your car. You really just can't.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that beats that is a Ferrari red car. So,
I like McLaren's car more than I like Ferrari's car.
Oh, I don't really like McLaren. I think they went with I call it the jack-o'-lantern car. It's orange and black. But let's skip past Ferrari right now and let's go on to McLaren.
Okay.
Let's talk about McLaren. Let's talk about Lando Norris and Zach Brown and Piastri. I don't think that. Here's the thing. I think that Lando and Mikey and both of you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked like Lando and Oscar were more excited about that car than Zach Brown was.
Absolutely.
And that worries me because as much as it is Lando and Oscar that are behind the wheel of that car, Zach Brown knows. I mean, he knows what a good-looking race car is, man. He knows what a high-performance race car is. So it really worries me that he is not as excited as Lando and Oscar. So my question to you two is, do you think they're going to come out of the gate with the strength they showed towards the last half of the season last year?
Yes.
Have at it.
Yes.
Wow. Can you please expound on that? Because
I will.
Yes is one word.
I will. So after their test, they talked to Lando. Lando's like, yeah, we're not there. It's good, but it's just not there. And Lando's always down on himself.
That's true.
And Oscar, he's just, it's really good. I don't know if we're the top, but it's really good.
Anybody else get? Hold on, just a second. Anybody else get the impression Oscar Piastri is more of a I don't give a shit. I'm driving F1 cars, and I just don't really care.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
He's like Sammy Sosa, man, when he was hitting all those home runs. Baseball has been very, very good to me.
I hit ball far.
Yeah.
Hit ball
far. Run.
I like ball. Sammy like ball. Me hit ball far. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, from Zach Brown, you kind of get the same thing. Yeah, we're just not there yet. No specifics. No nothing. No, we're behind on this. No behind. I'm wondering if they didn't sandbag it a little bit. Also they didn't bring softs, so they didn't show their full potential.
You seem to be really keying in on this whole soft tire debacle of 2024. Like that's some kind of huge deal.
If they had soft tires, they could have set a faster lap.
This just in. Mikey likes soft tires.
Well, yeah, I just think they're sandbagging a little bit. I think they're going to come back, come out, and okay, oh shit, these guys aren't as far behind as we thought.
I'd love to see a team bluff the shit out of the other teams on winter testing.
And wouldn't that be a Zach Brown thing to do?
It absolutely would. But here's the downside of that. If you bluff everybody, then you're missing out. Also, you have to be willing to miss out on winter testing. If you're coming into that with the mission, hey, we're going to bluff everybody out and show them a shit car, you're also missing the chance to max out your car benchmark wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they didn't get a whole lot of runs in at Silverstone due to the rain.
Yeah, and I didn't actually. They were one of the few teams I didn't actually look and see how many laps they ran. It seemed like 330 was like some of the high point laps for a lot of the teams, and I didn't actually look at McLaren's, but it is what it is. I will tell you this: I do. Back to Jason's point, and I know I called it the jack-o'-lantern car. It's not a bad looking car if you compare it to all the other cars on the grid. By itself, I think they could have done a better job. But anyway,
I think you just don't like McLaren.
There's that.
Is it the wheel covers? Is it the wheel covers?
I gotta tell you, no, it's not the wheel covers. That's one of the things I actually like. I'm a huge Google Chrome fan, but I gotta tell you, as a Red Sox fan, I know the Yankees need to exist for the Red Sox to be who they are. McLaren needs to exist for Ferrari to be who they are. Doesn't mean I gotta like them. So, and I like Zach Brown. I know if Chad were on here tonight, he'd be like, "Whoa, my God," because he's a non-Zach Brown guy. But
who has more championships, Ferrari or McLaren?
Ferrari.
So wouldn't that make them the Yankees?
What?
I can't even believe you went there. But they're red.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter.
There's a lot of red things. There's a lot of red things.
Okay, so next week it'll be just me on the fuel pod.
Just saying, the Yankees have red in the logo.
Okay, so we're gonna move on. So who have we talked about so far? We've talked about. Do we need to talk about Haas? They're gonna suck. Shocker.
Are they gonna? No. All right, let's move on.
I will say this: what we can talk about, Haas. Gunther Steiner got a job with a German sportscasting team that is going to be hosting regionally. They're going to be hosting 8 of the F1 races for the regional sportscast, and he's going to be doing commentary for them, which I think is awesome. I'm going to be trying to find that, obviously, because
he's going to be doing commentary for one.
I mean, it's going to be F-bomb Central, man. He's like, look at these fucking wankles out here. So it's going to be kind of crazy, but I'm going to try to find some footage of that because we're going to have to put that on the show. That's excellent, dude. So we talked about Alpine. We talked about Haas. Let's talk about Williams. Never mind. Moving on. We've talked about RB, the real RB, Red Bull. We talked about McLaren. Let's talk about Mercedes. Anybody got anything on Mercedes?
This is their last good season. They're losing. They're losing. That's it.
Wow. This just in, Jason dropped bomb on Mercedes 2024 season. Please expand on that, son, because you can't just leave that floating out there.
Well, that's it, bro. They're losing their best driver. They're gonna try hard. Lance Stroll. It's gonna, especially
don't say that too loud. George gets his feelings hurt.
Like up until once we get to the end of the season, it's just gonna be Mercedes and George Russell. They're not gonna tell Lewis Hamilton a whole lot anyway.
Hamilton's got all the picks he needs already.
They're not going to want him to go to Ferrari, know all their strategies, and then come right back into it.
Here's my thing, and man, this is my thing. Okay, Lewis Hamilton and Toto Wolff are close. There's no way that Mercedes' strategies change from year to year that much. No. At what point does Toto go to the RV at night when he's in the paddock and go, you know what? Who gives a shit? Because he already knows everything we're going to do.
Yeah.
He knows me in and out. So while I don't disagree with you, Toto and I'll deny this because I can't stand Mercedes, but I do like Toto, and I have liked Humble Ham.
If it's not Ferrari,
Toto and Lewis are two people that actually could go the rest of the distance this season with no animosity.
Yeah, and at the end of the season, if Mercedes is right there in the hunt, if Hamilton's right there in the hunt for a top 3 constructor, top 3 driver, Toto's going to go for it. Like, here's the resources you need, Lewis. Let's get this for Mercedes.
Yeah, Mikey, I think that Lewis is the consummate professional, man. And I think he will help them until he's not wearing that suit anymore.
Yeah.
See, that's
Toto has to win.
I think for the record, okay, go ahead, Jason. Sorry.
I think they're going to try and push George Russell to be their lead this season. This is kind of where my head's at.
I think that's exactly what they'll do. And here's what's weird:
back off, and they're going to have Russell fight for it. And I don't think Russell can compete with these other top cars right now. I don't think Russell can compete with McLaren's car. I don't think.
I don't think he can either. But here's what's weird: you guys can disagree with me, obviously. I think Lewis will help George out this year.
Yeah.
I think Lewis is going to say, hey, man, next year, this game is yours. Because I'm going to be over there trying to beat your ass week in and week out. So I'm going to tell you right now, you need to chill your shit out and put it together because you're going to be running this squad next year. And I think that's the kind of guy that Lewis is.
He's a professional. He's not going to leave them. He's not going to leave them in a bad position.
Dude, he's
going to leave them in the best position that he can leave them in.
He's got nothing to prove, dude. He's got 7 world titles. And I realize it's kind of a in his back that he's tied with Schumacher instead of beating Schumacher.
And I agree with Jason. I think, at the beginning of the season, I think that they are going to give George the push, in situations. But if he's not getting it, Toto is going to say, hey, you weren't ready.
Yeah.
We've got to send somebody up to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
George has got some issues.
Yeah. If Russell doesn't work out in the beginning of the season, they're going to push for a Mercedes win and not just a George Russell lead this team kind of win.
Dude, that's probably the best line said on this show tonight. You're absolutely right. And that's very Toto Wolff. And that's also very Christian Horner, which we'll get to later. But being able to say it's not about one of our drivers. Because at the end of the day, for those TPs, those team principals, it's a team thing. They don't give a shit who gets it. It's who's in the best position at this time in the race to give us what we need. Right? So, Jason, dude, you couldn't have said it better if you'd have tried just now. That was absolutely brilliant. And I think they will absolutely go with, obviously, if George is having one of those races where he lets Lance Stroll or Checo Perez, because let's face it, he lets those two guys get to him.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody gets to him like Checo and Lance. It's kind of crazy, really.
Especially.
But, yeah. So, anyway,
they were really optimistic after the test. They said it it felt a whole lot better than the last 2 years.
Yeah, and
I still have my doubts on their pace.
Yeah,
but I think the ride will be better, and that it'll give them more to work with. It'll give that pro Lewis Hamilton more to work with. If he's fighting the damn thing, you don't have nothing.
Yeah, and I think George's Mr. Captain Obvious Understatement of all time, George Russell asked about the car after day 3. Yeah, it was much nicer to drive.
Mhm.
Wow, man, thanks. Been waiting for you to get out of the showers and come out here and really talk about the car. It was much nicer to drive. Okay, next guy. So, anyway, so F1, the website, called Aston Martin a loser, one of their losers on winter testing.
That one probably hit you, soul.
And it did, because I disagree. Did the car? I think F1 website probably expected that car to blow people out of the water, given the amount of money that Lawrence Stroll can throw at a problem. But people got to realize it doesn't matter how much money you throw at a problem, because every team has the same amount of money now to throw at a problem. My issue with it is, they didn't blow anybody's pants off. They didn't blow my pants off. I still have my pants. But here's my question to you guys. I think they're going to pull a 2023 McLaren this year. I think they're going to start
second half.
Except I don't think they're going to start out at the bottom and then show up in midfield. I think they're going to start out in the middle and show up high 3.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you guys can disagree with me. I would love to hear you guys talk me out of this. You won't, but I think
that would take
start middle, high, and then end high 3. That'd be crazy for that team. That'd be crazy.
Can I tell you what? Because I don't like presenting a thing without telling you why I feel that way.
Go ahead.
Lance Stroll apparently had some kind of crazy therapeutic offseason where he's decided to focus on racing Formula One cars instead of surfing the biggest wave when he's on
they locked him in a closet for 3 months and told him he wasn't coming out.
I think Lawrence had a lot to do with that. I'm sure at some point Lawrence had the whole, hey, man, people want me to fire you, and I'm your dad, and I probably don't want to fire my son. That's probably not going to work well for me family-wise. So what I need you to do is reach up and grab I don't know where you would want to grab your head, but what we need you to do is completely dislodge it from your ass, because you are a Formula One racer and we need you to focus on that. Yes, it's fun to travel to all these exotic places, but you can't spend your whole weekend trying to catch a wave, buddy. We need you to focus on racing a Formula One car. And so
he needs to be, you're not daddy's little boy. You're a Formula One racer.
Fuck yes, man.
Go race the Formula One.
French, but yeah, that's exactly what he needs to do. And here's the thing.
We all believe that you can do this. Do it.
I think this year is that year. And I think Alonso got a hold of him too.
Yeah.
And because I know this will make Chad laugh when he finally watches this, but I think Alonso jerked a knot in Lance Stroll's tail and said, hey, Bubba, so here's the thing. You're on the high side of the 20s. It's time to dig in and do the real day work, right? Wear your big boy pants and do the real day work.
Well, shit, or get off the pot.
Right. I mean, my son is 17 right there, and he works harder than Lance Stroll on a work weekend. So
that might be a little much. I mean,
you're not really surfing on the weekend, so it's a pretty fair statement. But anyway, I think we're going to see a new and improved Lance Stroll this year. We're going to see an Alonso. We already know who Alonso is. All you have to do is give him the tools to succeed.
He will max out that car.
Yeah, he's going to drive the tits off that car like he always does. So I think that what's going to be behind for Aston Martin this year is the car. I think it's going to start off where they ended last year, nothing crazy, and then I think they're going to improve to at least top 4 team, if not top 3.
And it's going to take both drivers to do that.
Yes, and last year they didn't have both drivers. Let's be clear. It was Alonso on the podium.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it'll be Lance Stroll. So, anyway, that's my Aston Martin comments. Who's got the next team we're going to bring up?
Oh, okay.
Who got left? Steak?
Who do we have left?
Are we going with Steak? Is that what we're going to call them?
And then their name? I thought
Let's
their name
go with Ribeye F1. I mean, Steak F1. Sure, go for it, man. Do it.
All right, we'll go with Steak. I have nothing on Steak. There's another one. They're green, but they're forgettable.
Is there any?
I love Bottas.
I hate him.
I mean, the highlight of their team.
I'm not a big hater of Joke on You either. So
the highlight of their whole team in the last 2 years has been
Bottas's mustache.
Bottas's butt crack, man.
I thought it was going to be.
Well, I was totally not going there. I went with mustache, but okay. So you heard it here.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally forgettable team. Who else do we got left?
Did we already do Cash App?
We already did Cash App. We did V-Carb. That's what we're calling them.
We skipped.
I've got a team I need to cover.
What is that?
It the one that was the only
Are you
team
going to slam my team right before I bring them up?
Yeah, here we go.
I was gonna lead you into it. Go ahead and say it. We've got to get it in.
I am now going to bring up the Scuderia Ferrari, which, by the way, on my fantasy team, I've decided to call them the Puderia Calamari.
Well, go ahead and tell us about Singapore last year.
So last year, the only team to beat Red Bull, the Scuderia Ferrari, and it wasn't Charles Leclerc. It was Carlos Sainz, the smooth operator.
Isn't Sainz losing his seat?
He is. Yeah, we're going to get to that. And I'm going to pretend I didn't hear you say that since we're related. Yeah. But so here's the thing. First off, the fastest car on the grid during winter testing, other than Red Bull, was the Scuderia Ferrari. The issue that Scuderia Ferrari had last year was tire degradation. The issue they didn't have in winter testing, oh, wait for it, is tire degradation. So I think they fixed that issue. And my favorite part of this whole story with winter testing is that Carlos Sainz drove the absolute boobies off that car the entire 3 days. I realized Leclerc had a small moment where he was faster than Verstappen. But Carlos Sainz, like I said, he drove the absolute breasticles off of that Scuderia Ferrari. So if I'm any other team other than Red Bull, and even if I'm Red Bull, I'm worried about that Scuderia Ferrari. So I dare either one of you to talk me out of that one.
Can't do it. You know, I texted you early and said,
you did. That red
car is racy.
You did.
As long as they don't run into any drain covers.
You had to go there, man.
Wow.
We were doing so well, and then you went with manhole covers again.
Who shut down
whose effing fault? Is it Ferrari's fault that they ran over a manhole? Because to me, that's the municipality's fault.
Just the manhole. I mean,
yeah.
Come on.
I mean, they ran over a manhole, man. Come on. Let's not talk about manholes. Let's talk about actual maneuvering of.
That's Bottas. That was a few minutes ago.
So anyway, honestly, all jokes aside, what are your guys' thoughts on the Scuderia Ferrari this year?
I think
like I said, they're racy.
Yeah, I think
they look good.
Jason?
I don't think it's going to be Red Bull, but I think it's a number 2 car. For sure. I think it's going to take.
And that's fair. That's fair. I think they'll get a couple of wins this year. I'm going to go ahead and say that.
Yeah. I think they definitely got a couple wins they can get under their belt for sure this season.
And this is going to be a shocker for everybody, even me. But I think at least one V-Carb driver is going to be on the podium this year.
For V-Carb?
Yeah, it'll be Danny Ricciardo or Yuki, but I think one of those two is going to be on a podium this year.
I pray it's Danny Rick. I need him.
I do too. But I also would love to see Yuki just because we've never seen his podium celebration. That guy's going to lose his mind.
Oh yeah,
if he's on it.
Oh yeah,
but
but Yuki still got some time left in him. Danny Rick has, I mean, how much time does Danny Rick realistically?
The young guy picking on someone. Well, he's 34, and I just want to add that at 41, Alonso was on the podium 7 times. So,
well,
just saying,
Alonso's a different breed. I don't know what they thought, but Alonso's crazy.
I'm wondering about Danny Rick's bladder. All his interviews looks like he's about to pee his pants.
Dude, he's got hyperactivity disorder. Give the man a break. He's a honey badger. Do you know many badgers that sit still? Because
I don't know any badgers.
I'd rather not, because I'm going to be trying to get out of there as quick as possible so I don't get mauled to death. But
he's got a secret fear of badgers.
Yeah, I really think we're going to see a Visa Cash App RB driver on the podium this year. Yeah, I realize we're kind of off topic right now, but I think we'll see Alonso on there. I think we'll see Stroll on there this year. But as far as top step of the podium.
Whoa.
Okay, what did I whoa about?
You just threw Stroll?
Yeah, Lance Stroll.
No chance.
We'll make a trip to the podium this year.
No chance.
Well, you guys can make fun of me next year. It's fine.
We are.
I think we will see, because they were the only team we saw last year do it. I think we will see a Ferrari driver on the top step of the podium this year.
I think so too. I think you're going to see a few pole positions from Ferrari.
Oh, well, yeah, but Charles Leclerc could win every pole position and lose every race, or even DNF every race.
He absolutely could.
That's what bugs me about Charles. He's going to go down in history as winning the most pole positions of any F1 driver ever without wins. That's going to be a dubious honor. It's like Dan Marino. Guy throws for ridiculous amount of passes. Never has a Super Bowl. So, it's one of those things.
But, Ray Finkel.
Laces out, Dan. Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn. Sorry, we went full Ace Ventura Pet Detective on you right there. If you're too young to remember that, try to rent that movie at Block. Oh, that's right. There's no more Blockbusters. Anyway, moving on. Guys, the 6th season of Drive to Survive. And folks, if you end up watching this show, no, we're not going to spoil any of it.
Please, because I haven't.
Yeah. I am 6 episodes in. I have 4 episodes left. I will tell you that for the most part, they went back to their season 1 formula.
That's what you were saying. So, I'm excited to watch.
So if you're worried that they're doing that thing they've done the past 2 seasons where they're jumping around from story to story, don't worry about it. They're not doing that. It's 1 story per episode. But I will tell you this too. They do, like, whatever that story is kind of plays out almost the whole season for that story. So you'll see races covered at the beginning of the episode that are like first few races of the year, and some of the middle, and maybe a couple at the end. And then the next episode will go back and tell a story from a different angle. It was well done. All I'm going to say is I'm with the rest of the F1 Race Nation when I said, and I don't mind saying this out loud, and this has nothing to do with misogyny, and it has nothing to do with sexism or whatever you want to call it, but Danica Patrick has 0 place in an F1 broadcast, and she definitely doesn't have a place. And you can put my face on it, put my name to it. I do not give a shit. It was disingenuous at best seeing her in this season of Drive to Survive as a person making comments on F1 drivers, especially when she talked about teammates and she talked about other shit that she has no business talking about. For the record, I would have loved to have seen her been great. But it drives me crazy that we're saying she was great when she wasn't.
No.
Any of her stats, if she were a man, she would have gotten 0 press.
Yep.
So it really
she's a
bugs
bratty
me.
little know-it-all bitch that didn't do nothing.
Yeah, and that being said, they brought
Sorry, Chad, but she's the worst.
Yeah, they brought back Claire Williams, who used to be the team principal, just for a difference of opinion, by the way. They brought back Claire Williams, who used to be the team principal for Williams, and got fired.
Yep.
By her own family's company.
Yep.
And she was a welcome addition to this season of Drive to Survive. She knows that sport inside and out. She grew up around it since she was a little girl. Danica Patrick does not fucking belong on an F1 broadcast, much less talking about F1. And for the record, I will say this one thing. At some point during the show, when you're watching it, she's going to say the words. For an F1 driver, their hands are their tools. No fucking shit. We know that. Oh my God, this just turned into a rant and I didn't even mean it to. Yeah, no shit. A driver drives with their hands. Thank you, Danica, for making us all feel stupid. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm sorry that if I spoiled it that Danica's been on, but if you haven't been on TikTok or social media this week, that's all that's on there in regards to this season of the show is how stupid it was, including her 2 cents in every episode. So just not really happy about it. But guys, that's all I got. What do you got? Closing us out.
Anything? Are we going to hear anything, or is Red Bull going to be sponsored by Swiffer next week? Because they just swept all the Horner stuff under the rug and kept on driving.
Wow, that was an excellent segue, man. So Ford sent a memo this week and said Ford believes in family values, and Ford wants you to make a call on this right now, or Ford is going to pull out on our powertrain. And oh, by the way, we've already done commercials and promos on Ford power plants at Red Bull. So please, if you would, decide what the hell you guys are going to do with Christian Horner, and we mean now.
They only have a week.
Yeah, they have less than a week. Yeah, so
5 days.
Yeah, it's
Monday night.
It's Tuesday there. So
yeah, so they're literally 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, Thursday is free practice 1, so they only have a couple of days.
Oh, literally. Cool.
So yeah, they want it decided before Bahrain Grand Prix starts,
which is Saturday, right?
Yeah, it is Saturday at 9:00.
Sweet.
In the morning. If you're in the Central Time Zone, if you guys are on the Eastern Seaboard or in the Eastern Time Zone, it'll be 10:00 Eastern Time.
Yeah, they had testing, and now they're back to waiting for the next distraction.
Yeah,
they're just waiting on a big enough distraction to where everybody forgets.
Yeah, because as far as I know, Christian Horner was in Bahrain this week.
Yeah,
with the team. So, I mean, why else wouldn't he be? He's still the team principal. And he's already said, I'm not resigning or stepping down. They'll have to fire me.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we'll see how it goes. But guys, that's all I got. Drive to Survive. Season 6 is on Netflix. If you have Netflix, make sure you watch it. Excellent. Great entrance to the sport. If you just got done, and Jason, I'm going to bum your friend's issue right here and say, if you just got done watching NASCAR Full Speed on Netflix, then and you're looking for more of that but better, then pull up Drive to Survive on Netflix and give it a go.
Can't dog on that show. That show was pretty good.
I'm not dogging on it at all. I'm just saying Drive to Survive's been doing it for a longer time. So make sure you get
F1 Fantasy Fuel Pod Fantasy League.
Fuel Pod Fantasy League. Can you guys tell me what your team looks like? You guys want to share your teams?
If I don't have technical difficulty, sure. I'm trying.
Okay, so I'll go ahead.
I will tell you this. Mine has a lot of red.
Mine also has a lot of red. I have both Ferrari drivers as my main driver. I have Carlos Sainz on my booster spot with 2x points. My backup drivers are Alex Albon, Daniel Ricciardo, and Fernando Alonso. My two constructors are Ferrari and Red Bull. Not Red Bull, RB, V-carb.
You know, I think I picked up Danny Rick too.
I also picked up Danny Rick.
I would like to challenge. I'm not going to tell anybody we have to do this, but I would like to challenge everybody to try to play the season without using Red Bull at all. I think that would. I'm not telling you you have to. If you want to get Max Verstappen, get him. If you want to get Red Bull or Checo, get him. But see if you can score without. I should have made this a rule at the beginning and said no Red Bull drivers or constructors. But with only $100 million,
Max,
you're out. You're already out $30 million.
I ended up with Checo with my +2.
I'm loading in mine right now. I can tell you I picked up Max Verstappen, and I can tell you right now that for Bahrain this weekend, I have Alex Albon as my booster.
Okay.
I'm putting a lot of. I think I kind of like Albon. I kind of like where he's going. So just kind of giving him faith this season.
My thought was I'm going to get Leclerc and Sainz both in the points, and that should be enough to cover Verstappen's points. And that means my bench drivers, all they need to do is score some points.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll see what happens. But you guys know you guys can change your team week in, week out. Plus, the value of your drivers and constructors goes up and down based on how they do. So your salary cap will change over time. So anyway, that's where I'm at. Going into the we need to post that on Twitter at some point this week for everybody that's in the league. You said you got 3 more guys maybe coming into the league. I'm sure it's Sam and those guys.
Yeah, Cody's going to get in. I think Ninny Bo Benny. Either her or her boyfriend got in just a minute ago.
I'm trying to get one of mine in too. Trying to get Zach in. So,
well, you got to hurry up because I think we're getting close to the max.
Get in now. Prizes await.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for anybody that ends up watching this episode, the episode 86. And we will be here hopefully Saturday for a watch along. Saturday morning. Hopefully, if we get that set up. What's that?
All of us together Saturday, hopefully.
Yeah. Sitting around the table watching a race and talking shit. That'll be great.
Be awesome.
And then if not, make sure you catch us for Monday for our version of the post-race show. Once we've had time to digest everything that happened in week 1. And then we'll move forward. So anyway, signing off. I'm JNeil729 on Twitter. This is 2
Diddy 4.
2 Diddy 4. And this is JP Freak 625. And you guys have a great week. Be safe. Watch some racing this weekend. Have a good one.
Enjoy.